bowl of Cheerios. The mere idea sends shivers down my spine. The initial roughness and texture, the cold milk shrinking my erect penis. What joy could be there in that? I thought to myself. After a few weeks, nobody brought it up anymore. We had moved on to different jokes and catchphrases most groups do. They weren't as funny, but they definitely weren't as weird. We did the usual things, and Friday was drinking day. By 2 a.m., all four of us were plastered. Jake let out a long sigh after pounding another shot of SoCo, and Kevin was loudly snoring on the couch. After 20 minutes or so, it was just Steve and I alone finishing off our remaining beers. Dude, hold on, Steve smiled. What's up, man? I said in my drunken stupor. Steve slashed his way over to his refrigerator and moved a gleaming white bowl from the fridge. I instantly knew what it was. What the shit fuck is that, Steve, I asked. Fucking Cheerios, man? You should fuck them. He seemed excited. Dude, it was just a joke. Don't tell me you. I was cut off. Nah, dude, I didn't fuck no Cheerios, but I bet you $50 you won't do it. I had my excuse. Fine, fucker, I'll do it. I was becoming erect already. How will I know you did it, huh? I froze up. My erection started to die. And this elaborate ploy for you to see my fucking dick, bro, I shouted, nearly walking our sleeping companions. Nah, dude, I just don't want any fucking cheating, man. I got $50 on this shit. Fine, I'll do it with my back to you and just stick my dick out through my fly. I was erect again. We both went silently. I carefully walked... Where's the thing? Carefully walked to the corner of the room and looked down upon the soggy mass of Cheerios awaiting my erect cock. They were honey nuts. Without waiting, I plunged my eager tool deep into the bowl. The milk washed upon my swollen testicles as they dipped into the soft contents of the bowl. I thrust it gently and realized how the Cheerios seemed to react to the shape of my member. The bowl was deeper than I expected. I heard cries of laughter coming from Steve, but I kept going. A wave of white anticipation struck me as my penis grew stiffer and my balls rumbled with an all too familiar feeling. I came into the honey nut bowl flavored of beaten Cheerios. My semen mixed flawlessly into the color of the bowl. My knees weren't weak. My breathing hasn't. I fucking love Cheerios, I said with a smile. 3 days had passed since my first Cheerio man encounter. I had since then started experimenting with different things. I tried chocolate milk, but the whole experiment just felt interracial. I tried adding sugar as well, but the cleanup became a hassle. Finally, I stumbled on bananas. They're the missing part of the equation. The Cheerio-inspired orgasms had doubled in strength, but my roommates were growing suspicious. I never ate Cheerios in the 2 years we lived together, and now I was going through a box for days. And nobody had ever seen me eat a bowl. I knew I had to be careful. I called Steve to joke about it a few days after it happened, and he didn't remember. I lost $50 but gained an experience that can only be equated with touching God. It was a fair trade. With Steve out of the way, I felt a little more relaxed. But not as relaxed as I could be, I whispered quietly to myself. A grin formed on my face as I slowly exited my room and made my way down the stairs. Only my roommate Lynn was home. She was gorgeous, but I had no time for girls. I had Cheerios. I carefully poured the bowl of Cheerios into the deepest bowl I could find. I delicately sliced one whole banana and placed it meticulously around the bowl. This is going to be a great night, I thought. I snuck outside to let the Cheerios moisten, my penis throbbing in anticipation. My mouth moist as if the Cheerios had some Pavlovian effect on me. I snuck inside quickly and plunged my cock straight into the cool, soft innards. I thrust my head back in pleasure as banana slices gently caressed the sides of my swollen prick. It had been only a few minutes, but showers of cum sprang from my penis, mixing into the milky broth. A quiet whisper escaped from my lips. I began to clean up and headed to the sink to wash the dish when I heard, "What are you doing?" My roommate Lynn stood there barely awake. "I was just having a bowl of Cheerios," I smiled. "Cheerios," I smiled. "I'm fucking hungry and you keep eating them. Now I'm craving them. Hand them over." I was erect again. She eagerly filled her mouth with my magic potion of Cheerios, bananas, and semen infused milk. God, this is good. No wonder why you like it so much. Says as little streams of milk poured down her chin. You're getting it all over yourself, I said. Oh, I'll get it. She licked her chops in a way that gave my rod a new pre-cum finish. It's so much better than usual. What did you add? Cinnamon, I sputtered. It doesn't taste like cinnamon, but it does taste really familiar. I always knew she was a slut. She looked as if she winked at me, but I played it off as if my eyes were playing tricks on me. She softly finished off the bowl and hopped down the counter. She put the bowl in the sink and placed her hands next to her. I always knew you were a Cheerio fucker. This time she definitely winked at me. Life had been good since Liz called me out on my new addiction. Truth was, she loved the subtle semen taste mixed with her milk as her ex used to come in her soy milk when she was mad at her. She caught him doing it, but already developed a taste for it. So our relationship started. I would sneak out of my room late at night and plunge my rod deep into a bowl. The thought of her devouring it the next day made it harder than I thought possible. And when I came in, well, amazing. My life had taken a turn for the best, and I was loving every minute of it. What the fuck am I reading? About 2 weeks into our relationship, Lynn informed all of us roommates that her sister and her daughter would be staying with us for a couple of days because of a fire at her house. Money was tight and they couldn't really afford a hotel. Nobody really objected, but inside I was in turmoil. Could I really get away from the dark cereal obsession for a couple of days? I would have to try. I couldn't risk them finding out. How long is this shit? Jesus Christ. Oh my god, this is the longest fucking thing ever.
I'm sorry. I stopped reading about here. I have a feeling I'm going to have issues.
They showed up that night and I could barely hold back the urge to plunge my cock into a bowl of oatmeal Lynn's sister made her for her daughter. It was an idea I hadn't considered, but I noted I must try. Spent the rest of the night watching boring sitcoms on TV until everyone just decided to sleep. I laid on my bed for what seemed like hours. I couldn't hold back anymore. My erection formed a circus tent on my bed and I knew what I had to do. I snuck out of my room, as I had so many times the past few months, and down the stairs. Lynn's niece was sleeping in her room, but Lynn's sister was asleep on the couch, and that was less than 10 feet away from the kitchen. If I was to do this, I'd have to be stealthy, but the noises I made while fucking Cheerios were ungodly, so I had another plan. I'd fuck them in the bathroom. I poured myself a bowl and stuck quietly into the bathroom near the stairs. I got myself a quick few strokes to get me hard and then plunged right in. The cool milk creeped up on my urethra and gave me a sort of numb sensation. I almost came right then, but I held back. My erect cock hit the bottom of the bowl like a sledgehammer of meat. I groaned as the soft but gritty texture of the Cheerios rubbed against my sensitive penis. Pressure began building in my balls as it slapped at the outside of the bowl. I stopped to smile for a second before resuming my unholy act. Then it happened again. I came the sensation of fucking the Cheerios so close to someone else took over and I came again. Both ejaculations twice my normal size. I groaned loudly but quickly caught myself. I grinned to myself as I played the scene of Lynn eating these tomorrow in front of her and her sister and niece. She was barely able to contain herself. I walked to the door and went to open it, but as I approached I noticed it was hard again. A warm feeling washed over me. One more load couldn't hurt, right? Yet I didn't sleep for long. I woke up early and went downstairs and watched 2 chance missing the show. I wanted to see Lynn get as worked up as she normally did when she swallowed her first bite of my cum and Cheerios concoction. She had gotten so worked up about a month ago that she had started fingering herself as she ate. I'm sure most guys would have gone crazy to the sight, but I was fixated on the soggy lumps of overworked Cheerios. As I walked downstairs, I heard the voices of Lynn and her sister. I hadn't really cut their names since I had been preoccupied with my secrets, so I figured it was a good time. Good morning, guys. I smiled at both of them as they sat on the couch and watched morning cartoons. Good morning. They both didn't look up. My name's Jack. I don't think I got your names, though. I put on a fake smile. Well, my name's Karen, and this little terror is Stephanie. She smiled back to me as she pointed to her daughter, Lynn's niece. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys. Mind if I join you for some TV? I love this show. I wedged in the seat next to Karen and zoned out, waiting for Lynn to come downstairs. About 20 minutes later, she did. She was just in a tiny miniskirt and a sports bra. She looked fantastic. It's the first time since Cheerios that I'd actually been turned on by a woman. She mumbled a greeting and walked to the refrigerator. I became hard with anticipation, and my did my best to shift my position and not alert Karen or Stephanie. Lynn's eyes widened as she looked to the fridge. I could see her knees weaken a bit, and she let out a little bit of a groan. Are you okay? Karen asked her. Yeah, I just feel a little sick. Oh, well, if you need anything, let me know. I can't thank you enough for letting us stay here. You too, Jack. Just then, something terrible happened. Stephanie, who couldn't have been more than 5 years old, piped up. Mommy, I'm hungry. Oh, no. Lynn's facial expression became devious. Mine became horrified. We both knew what was about to happen. Lynn spoke before I could. Well, we're out of breakfast foods really, but there's a bowl of Cheerios in the fridge if you're hungry, Stephanie. I love Cheerios. Stephanie said, oh my god. Lynn handed her the bowl and a spoon, sat down next to her with a glass of OJ. Karen asked us if we could watch her while she took a shower, and Lynn agreed. Why don't you join us, Jack? Lynn smiled at me, and I eagerly got up and headed to the table. I sat down next to Lynn, and I noticed she had already started playing with herself under the table. I smiled at her, and she winked at me. She took a sip of her orange juice and gently moved her hand out of her crotch and onto my lap. She undid the button and tucked my erect peg and gently started stroking it. Meanwhile, Stephanie was about to eat the Cheerios. She was about to take her first bite when my conscience kicked in. Hey, Stephanie, I said. Hi, Jack. She put the spoon down. What if I take you out for some pancakes instead? I smiled. I love pancakes even more than Cheerios, she smiled, but Mommy told me not to waste food. Stephanie locked up. Well, maybe Lynn will eat them. I smiled as Lynn, but she wasn't having any of it. No, I'm not hungry. Jack, why don't you eat them? As she spoke to her grip.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah. Alright, I'll eat them. Oh, my God.
Can you read it?
I took my first bite and nearly came as it washed down my throat. The strong honey nut flavor was complemented by the subtle saltiness of my own semen. I was worried that I might have been disgusted, but all hesitation was gone now. I was thoroughly enjoying every bite. I could see now why Lynn loved it so much. Each salty bite was like a wave of passion flooding over me, and I could feel Lynn stroking me faster than before. The pressure was building, and I knew I had limited time before I'd explode in a wave of euphoria. Normally I wouldn't care, but Stephanie was eagerly watching me devour my tainted cereal. Stephanie, why don't you go and get dressed? I'm almost done. I know you're hungry. Okay, she hopped up in the chair and disappeared upstairs. She's just in time, because as I heard the door, Lynn dropped to her knees and slid already pulsing penis to her mouth and then deep into her throat. She gagged something I can only assume was sexy, but I put the bowl to my lips and began to suck the milk and jizz mixture, slurping as loud as I possibly could. I finally finished coming, and Lynn sat back in the chair. You have a really small penis, Jack, she laughed. Hey, at least it's circumcised. This time I laughed. Yeah, I can't stand uncut guys, but seriously, it's kind of small. You're lucky your semen is like in nectar. I can't get enough. She licked her lips to show me she wasn't kidding. That's good to hear. Thanks for that, by the way. You almost compared to Cheerios. A few months had passed since Lynn's family left, and I had kept up on my Cheerios fucking adventures. Lynn still enjoyed her morning bowl, and I had now upped it to 4 loads, but like any relationship, things had gotten less exciting. I needed to spice things up, to make things the way they used to be. I had to let Lynn on it, but she wasn't very much help. Why don't you just fuck me? I'm pretty hot and I can take a dick well. It was the only thing she really said, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It was too different, and frankly, kind of grossed me out. Then I had an epiphany. Maybe it was time for fantasy out of his head. My dick was already 4 inches deep and into a bowl of Cheerios as I came to the concept. It was time to try cornflakes. What the fuck? Honestly.
This is gold.
No.
Yes. Yes.
I can't take this shit anymore.
Keep eating it.
Come on, finish it. I want to put this on
Chad, it
YouTube.
can't get any worse.
Finish it. There's like 100 fucking paragraphs left.
Okay, I'll finish.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's really
God.
good.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. Okay. Oh, God. Can't see shit. I went down to the local grocer and
No,
I
I
could
was
barely
gonna read it,
contain
asshole.
well, read it, jackass.
I went down to the local grocery and could barely contain it. My anticipation as I approached the cereal aisle. Euphoria hit me like a sack of bricks as I walked down the glorious aisle. I'd been here many times, but the concept of a new cereal made this experience new. It was like I had broken up with a girlfriend and could simply pick up a new one for the price of $3.99 or 2 for $5 with a club card. My erection was obvious as I sidestepped an older lady to get to the cornflakes. I'm sure she saw it, but I didn't care. A wet box with a giant rooster on beckoned me. It was almost as if it was meant to be. I started to leave the aisle, but something didn't feel right. I immediately figured out what it was. We were out of Cheerios at home. I picked up a few boxes of Cheerios with a grin and headed to the checkout. When I got home, I was greeted by 6 strangers. All of the trash and all of them obnoxious. I counted on a nice, quiet evening with a bowl of cornflakes and maybe a bit of wine, but I would have to wait. My other roommate, Paul, was throwing a party. I couldn't really complain because he was extremely quiet and never really did anything to step on anyone's toes. It didn't matter. I just fulfilled my mission in my room. Maybe Lynn would, Rod. I walked to the kitchen and grabbed 2 bowls and a gallon of milk and hobbled up to my room. I knocked on Lynn's door, but she didn't answer. It looked as if tonight was going to be just me and my cereal. I stared at the bowl longingly as I poured the cornflakes out of their box. My cock started pulsating and the orange tea flakes toppled out into the bowl. My milk soon joined them, and my throbbing penis drew closer, almost with a mind of its own. A few strokes to get hard, and I was in. The texture, the shape, the color, the slightly roughened, non-circular edges crossed my meat as I plunged my dick further in. I've been taking penis enlargement pills on behalf of Lynn, who desperately wanted me all the way down her throat. The dick wasn't fitting the full way in, so I figured they must be working. And how? Suddenly, the door burst open. I wheeled around to see Lynn standing there, her eyes hungrily fixated on the bowl, wedging onto my dick. Is it my turn yet? She injured. She flicked down her long brown hair and winked at me. With the final thrust, my load burst all over the cornflakes. Yes, just in time, too. She sucked over toward me and grabbed the bowl off my crotch. Milk and straight flakes fell from my groin and she began devouring the fresh-made bowl. Cornflakes were my new god, shape and form created an ecstasy from which I could not hold back. Lynn looked up from her bowl and questioned me for seemed like the 1,000th time. Please, Jack, can you fuck me while I eat this? My mind started worrying. I had formed a plan, a devious plan. I would give Lynn what she wanted. While escaping from my own dilemma of not wanting to fuck her, I poured cornflakes and milk inside her. It would be orgasmic. What? She seemed to read my thoughts and nodded. I grabbed the packet of cornflakes as she fell into the bed and spread her beautiful, long brown legs. I opened her wide and started jamming in fistful of cornflakes in my hands. I heard milk and she yelped softly. I was throbbing with anticipation already. I directed my pulsating hide her moist pussy, her juices flowing and mixing with the milk and flakes. I jammed inside her, forcing the cereal further and further inside her, fucking her with all the intensity I could manage despite the utter ecstasy I was in. Harder and harder I pushed, her face staring up at me, milk mixed with my semen dripping down her chin, wetting her tiny tank top. It was becoming too much. I thrust further and further inside her, the mix of cornflakes and pussy juice creating an anal gam of awesome that I just could not resist mentally. Fuck, I screamed as what I shot out would call one of the biggest loads I've ever felt through her system. She vibrated and clenched the bowl, dropping it to the floor where it smashed, sending the contents splattering across the room. I had made Lynn orgasm. She immediately jumped up after she recovered from the pleasure of the climax, coursing through her body, and leapt off the bed. She then began licking the milk and flakes off the carpet, making a distinct noise while she was doing it. Saw her thick, firm ass cheeks from behind her, pussy dripping with milk and juice, with the occasional flake falling out. I came inside you, Lynn, I said solemnly. I know, I'm on the pillow, it's okay, she said. Resumed licking the flakes from the floor, her ass moving up and down as she lapped up my body's fruit. After that night, things seemed different. I couldn't find the same pleasure that I had fucking cornflakes in life. I tried everything. I filled up a flashlight with cornflakes, Cheerios, bananas, and milk, but I just couldn't manage it. And Lynn didn't seem to be dropping any hints that she wanted more. And besides, she was going away for months to see Stephanie in her mother's new home. And stay there for a while to break it in. After many unsuccessful attempts to reach a climax I had achieved before, I decided it's time for more radical options, something I had considered yet never tried. I was going to fuck a bowl or a flashlight. I was going to fuck the opening of a milk bottle filled with Cheerios, bananas, cornflakes, and a rim. You know what? Fuck that. Seriously, this is so retarded.
I'm reading you this now. If you gonna quit. Oh god.
Fine.
Are you done or what?
Yeah, I'm done. I can't take this anymore.
Okay. We hope my dad doesn't wake up. Okay. I went to the store and purchased the ingredients. The checkout worker had come to learn my name and special. As soon as I started walking towards him, he already had the register open with my standard order programmed in. One more item today, Drew? I said to him, holding up the bottle of lubricant. He really raised his bushy eyebrows and smiled, ushering me through. No need to pay for that one. With the amount of cereal you eat, must be pretty inexperienced woman to have a thing for you. Said jokingly. Hey buddy, when you graduate from scanning my products and benefiting society, I'll take your opinion. I said, shoving the extra cash for his lube into his hand and walking out. My hands were sweating over the wheel of my car as I made the journey to my apartment. I raced to the door with my bags and set them on the table. I looked up to see Steve sitting there watching TV. Oh god. What are you doing here today, bro? I got sacked, by the way. Did Dylan tell you before I left? There's some renovators coming in about 20 or so minutes to fix up the bathroom and buffer out some of those cracks into my walls. They're getting pretty damn big, man. Oh, cool, I responded. What the fuck? Where did this come from? We're kind of busted low now. I think I've been begging for it since I arrived at the store and located the milk. How long will this take, I inquired, covering my annoyance with nonchalance. Oh, a few days or so. We're going to have to sleep and live down here for a while. Is that cool? Yeah, no worries. Where do I shit? Said I. Well, there's a public toilet not far away, a 1-2 minute walk. I was hoping you wouldn't mind if we could use that, she said. Going a little red in the face, this was really starting to get to me. However, I retained my composure. Well, dude, I don't know. Seems a bit of a stretch, but I guess we need to stop this place going to shit. So I have to cope. I was infuriated he was sitting there, smug little grin on his face. He's never done anything like this before. But I knew what he was having for breakfast tomorrow morning. A quadruple shot bowl of Cheerios. Oh, man. Oh, shit. This is really fucked up. This is really fucked up. God. It was just a shame that Lemon couldn't be there to enjoy it. I grabbed my shopping off the table and walked back out the door. Steve looked up at me for a second inquisitively. Then in the midst of the thoughts, I strolled on down to the public bathrooms in the park just near our place and entered stealthily. Unpacked my things onto the closed seat of the toilet, tipping a fair portion of the milk into the toilet bowl. Grabbed up the Cheerios and the cornflakes and made haste in emptying them into the particularly drained bottle. Broke up the banana with my hands and added that too. I felt like I was having some rabid, druggy cooking show. Oh, man. My cock rose up in my hands as I took the tube of lubricant and applied it to the rim of the bottle. My hands quivering from the excitement. Man, what the fuck? Slowly, I bent and completed orgasm tube towards my cock. A little content spilling down my legs. One thrust, two thrusts, and it was in. And wasn't it ever? Jamming my dick back and forth out of this bottle was possibly equal to fucking Lynn's cereal vagina. Suddenly from outside I heard the cruel laughter of young boys. Evidently I just off some sort of bullying endeavor. They strutted into the bathroom and started kicking my door. I screamed to tell them to fuck off, but they just laughed and kept doing it. Jack had a plan. Jack had a devious, evil plan. Oh my god. I blocked out the noises of the kids smashing my door, and it kept fiercely working on the ball back and forth along my cock. Started making noises, and there was a few distinct, what the fuck is he doing? Calls heard from outside, but nothing could stop me. This was everything I've been waiting for the whole day. I pushed harder and harder. My dick pulsating of carnal my whole grain lover when I felt my balls rumble.
Just because I'm an
Player kicked.
I ripped the bottle off my dick and
Member
jerking myself
joined.
fiercely. I charged out the cubicle, cock-ripping the milk and pre-com. I fired the greatest lowest spur thing I've ever witnessed. From any human, the cum arch. Oh, I watched almost in slow motion as it covered the baby face of some of the 12-year-old assholes. Oh, God. His backyard scab soaked it in. His face a mask of terror. They all screamed like little bitches and fled before an advancing wrath of my throbbing member. Oh, God. Oh, God. Who would write this shit? Lemonhead, you would not be able to write something like this. Oh, God. Instantly, it was hard again. I closed my sacred cubicle and started pumping the ball back and forth. Steve was going to enjoy his breakfast tomorrow. I thought to myself, over about an hour ago, I came 4 separate times into that bottle. My balls were black and blue. I stumbled back into our place. Falling through the door, Steve was nowhere to be found. Hopefully he was out looking for work. I dropped onto the couch and set my watch alarm to wake me up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning to organize Steve's fat feed. It was about 6:30 or 8:30 p.m. when I fell asleep. The next morning I awoke to the beeping on my watch. Steve was on the floor on some sort of mat that I didn't even know we owned. It looked pretty grungy, however it would have nothing to do with what he was about to eat. I got up groggily, sleep interrogated and clouding my senses, and stumbled to the fridge. Opening it, my jaw dropped. The bottle was gone. I looked around, couldn't see anywhere. Had Steve found it? Had he already eaten it? Anxiety collected in the pit of my stomach. I ran into Lynn's room to see if I could find it. To find her, head tilted back, drinking the Malaysian, what the fuck? A soggy cereal and 4 shots of my nut butter. Hey, Jack. Work told me I needed to be back, so I had to come. Speaking of come, this is pretty strong stuff. You've been eating much raw salt lately? She said, winking, and tossed the bottle into the corner and walked out of the room. I realized I wanted her again. I wasn't sure if she didn't want to take my dick anymore. She was playing hard to get. But I wanted her lips wrapped around my shaft more than a good cold bowl of Cheerios. Ah, Jesus Christ. But the fact still remained, Steve had escaped my wrath. So I formed a plan to win access to the warm bowl of Lynn's vagina and destroy the mind of Steve for subjecting me to torture those bastard children. I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Speaking to Steve, he said he was out last night at the bar, busy with his dealings with the ladies, as he likes to say. I decided to lie a little. Said that Lynn would be bedding in the hotel, and she told me to tell him if he had woken up and she had left for work. He bought it like the docile fellow he is. I moved the conversation onto her room and said that she had proposed that either of us could sleep in her bed. I decided to moderate myself for him, and allowed him to use it while she was away. He had a huge thing for her, and probably escaped from just being in her room. Convinced him to have another night out at the pub, and that perhaps his luck waxed strong tonight with concerns to the ladies. By no means that was Steve, an attractive man. I hope he finds some early consolation before leaving his mind obliterated. Part A of the plan was complete. Part B would be interlied when Lynn arrived home from work. First, a trip to the store for supplies. The delivery must be perfect if I was to pull off this maximum efficiency. Thus away I went. I arrived home about an hour before Lynn was due home. Perfection. Steve had left the house too. Even better. Part B rolled into action. I'd purchased a little something extra today from the chemist. And by purchased, I mean I asked my friend at the counter for it and he handed it over to me for free of charge. On the condition that I explained the whole story to him. By the way, Andrew, if you're out there, you're part of the reason I'm writing this. I know you're a lurker. Anyway, I had some Viagra. I didn't know what would happen if I took this, but I knew if I was going to get as much semen as in the ball as it needed, that I was going to need stimulation worthy of Zeus. Derp. Wait, you're stealing that idea from me, Lemon. When I arrived home, I poured myself a bowl and quickly shut off my first 2 loads. This wasn't even a challenge anymore. As my cock started to hurt, I took the Viagra. Instantly I was revitalized. I managed a full 3 more loads before spraying into the bowl. But my last habit I was saving for when Lynn got home. Quickly cleaned up everything and got into my room where I lay in wait. My cock was in terrible pain, but I just needed 1 more load for Lynn. I heard the front door click open. It was about 11 p.m. at the moment. She was about 3 hours late, which seemed odd. She walked inside, I heard the fridge open, and groaned of dismay. She couldn't call out my name. Jack, you home? I was trying not to respond. I was standing in her room, totally naked, packed of cornflakes on the floor, milk in one hand, and a quadruple shot of Cheerios in bowl in hand. Quickly trod on the send button on my phone, which lay beneath my feet. The message will arrive on Steve's phone any second. Get back here now, preferably with the girl you're talking to. I have a nice surprise for you two. Steve was kind of the man that couldn't resist a good surprise, especially one which involved him and another woman. He'd be home soon. Handle on the door to the room slowly began to turn. Had taken exuberant amounts of Viagra, and my cock felt as it was going to explode. The door cracked open, and there she was, in her work clothes, tight black shirt, hair done up, and a suit jacket over her shoulders. Her blouse was bursting. It was just too small for her tits. Assumed she had been going for a raise today. She looked at me with her mouth wide open. Her purse fell to the floor. Cheerios, 5 shots in 1, I calmly stated. She rushed at me. Fail. Tired of disinterest gone from her eyes, she grabbed the bowl from my hand and literally plunged her face into its depths. I could hear soft sounds from the... What the... Oh!
Caleb, behave now!
I'm reading an epic story. Shut up! My dick was so hard it was unbelievable. She noticed and grabbed it, began to rub it, and the feeling was amazing. I managed to murmur, "Cereal in your pussy?" he asked. She managed to nod amidst the devouring of my honey nut butter Cheerios. She sat down on her bed, started eating. As I grabbed the milk, cereal, and bananas, and began to create my concoction. I poured it into her vagina and stuck my cock in it as soon as I could. I was fucking her hard and she munched on the Cheerios. My cries of ecstasy mixed in with her grunts and snorts of pleasure. She was in heaven and so was I. I kept plunging my cock in and out until I realized we needed to add something. Turned her over, spread her ass cheeks, shoving fistfuls of cornflakes and Cheerio in her tight anus. In went the milk, followed closely by my banana. I had found the meaning of life. I was drilling it in her ass, an ass filled with delicious cereal and meat, together creating oh my god, amazing amounts of pleasure that made me see Jesus. When suddenly the door ripped open, and we saw Steve standing there, complete with some unattractive whore he left found at the bar. His mouth was wider than Lynn's anus, but that wasn't stopping us. There was shit and milk everywhere. My roommate standing at the door to the room, and his lifelong lover in her ass while she ate a bowl of semen-infused Cheerios. My relationship with Cheerios is now serious. We haven't heard from Steve in a long time, and the volume of profanities he was screeching, well, I'll take that to the grave. The end.
Encore.
No. Wait, what? You don't like any kind of sick humor at all. You're screwed up if you don't like Jackass or The Hangover.
Sick humor is the best kind of humor.
What's just really bland, I guess. Oh my god. I only read half that story before. Jesus Christ.
The question, who would have written that? Just someone from 4chan?
Somebody on 4chan.
Because
Oh yeah, it's going on
it's pretty
YouTube.
decent writing
That was about
of
45
course
minutes,
using
but
content.
I can do it.